Hi, we're here with Russ Hill. He's the organiser of The Hive, and I'm reporting for TechFluff TV. So I'm just going to do a quick interview with Russ and find out what's happening in the tech scene in Melbourne.
A couple of years ago when I was studying entrepreneurship at RMIT University, I used to go to quite a few networking events, but not many of the others in my course did. And so I started to figure out why is that. And essentially it was because they didn't really know how to get started. So with a bunch of mates we started The Hive, and we tried to make it a really, really approachable event. So you don't need to wear a suit, you don't need to have a business, you don't need business cards. You don't need to have any of that sort of business stuff. A lot of people assume you do. So we go to a bar once a month in Melbourne and Brisbane and Sydney now. We have a speaker who's the founder of a company, and we get them to talk for about half an hour about what they've done. It's just a really, really informal, casual drinks at a bar, talk about entrepreneurship and get to know others. It just depends what you're interested in, really. So there's a bunch of different events. Hive is once a month. We had the Ignite recently as well, which is good. Inspire 9 co-working space. There's always stuff happening there. There's the Jelly meetups. So there's a lot of different projects that are happening that are quite interesting. Entrepreneurship here is really driven by the fact that people they have their job, which is probably what they started with, and the career they thought they would have for life. But these days, we're being told we're going to have 20 jobs before we retire, and people really just want to explore what interests them, their passions. So I think everybody wants to be working on some sort of side project, and all of these spaces and events give people that opportunity to do that and to work on something interesting, to explore whatever interests they have, which could be absolutely anything. And with these groups that pop up, you can meet like minds and talk to people who are sort of in the same situation, which is really cool. Yeah, so I work within the innovation program at Deloitte, and I used to work in digital. So we get a lot of people talking about new things, just pushing them outside the usual job, I guess, and saying, well, what do you think about what we could do with all of this data that's emerging? What can we do in a few years' time, assuming that this or that? We ran some events recently about serious gaming as well. So we've got things like Foursquare popping up. You check into places, experience a game out of it. How can we apply that within, what we do professionally as well? There might be a mayor, you go to San Francisco, there might be 20 people checked in. So it's definitely smaller in volume, but it is really interesting just to see. You can look at the screen, you can see where people are, what they're doing. Quite often I'll check in and then somebody will come up and say hi and we'll have a chat about something. So it doesn't have the volume of some of the other cities, but you don't need volume to make it interesting.
Exactly, as long as the people that are using it are interesting.
Right. Yabble was a project that I did, I guess over a year ago now, and it was really just creating a mobile site for reviews for cafes, restaurants, that sort of stuff. So I'm still very interested in that area. I think there's so many things you can do with data, with local stuff. It's been interesting to see what Foursquare have done. There's quite a few other, I think there's one called Scavenger that came out recently as well, which is kind of like Foursquare except you do missions.
Alright, it's a real-time missions almost.
It might be, go here and have this burger, or like just little things that you can do around the city. So I'm just fascinated by that connection between, what can we bring from the online world to match with the offline world. I think I've been really impressed by what Virgin Australia are doing, the airline.
So you've
got Virgin Blue in Australia, you've got Free Australia for here to LA. They use Twitter really, really responsively. They're always, if you say something, they'll reply, they'll take it on board, they'll help you out. I just think they're probably one of the most sort of human accounts that I've seen. Which is really nice.
opportunities.
So if we're moving towards this sort of Twitter world where everybody has a profile, every company has a profile,
Yes.
the role of maybe the agency or the social media manager, I think, is to educate all of the people to get them up to that level.
Yeah, alright.
It's not going to happen overnight, so they might act as a proxy sort of for a while.
Yeah.
But that's kind of where it's going. So they need to sort of ease that process. It's quite a few.
Yeah.
I just like, especially what the Colonizer guys do in Sydney.
Okay.
What they're doing with Spritz is really cool just because of how fast they got it out there. I really like that. It's kind of like a Groupon type
Okay.
platform.
And so is that getting quite a lot of traction?
Yeah, I think so. But just the speed they were able to get it out. I mean, one day it was an idea, and a couple of weeks later, here it is ready, up and running. That was really good. There's another site, rentoid.com.
Yes.
It's just kind of like eBay, but rent instead of buying and selling. That's going pretty well. There's Redbubble, which has been around for quite a while, which is kind of
what does that do?
an artist community.
Okay.
So I think of it's like Cafe Press, except really high-end quality instead. So if you're a photographer, you might list your art on there and sell that.